So I'm a big deadhead, okay? And if you're in like a culty world like this, like it is a way to connect people, right? So I would go to the Whole Foods parking lot, I would find deadhead stickers, and I leave notes in their windshield. And I close
Okay.
deals like that. People call me 6 months later and hold my business card that whole time. My Instagram business, my YouTube leads, they're not cold. They already like me. They already
Yeah.
like me. They already have a sense of what it's going to be like to interact with me. And at that
Hmm.
point, you just need a baseline level of competency. I have more than a baseline level of competency. But I'm saying, like, at that point, you just don't fumble the ball. At like my first list appointment, I love thinking about this. I thought I crushed it, right? And I called one of my mentors. I'm like, but he hasn't, they haven't called me. And he said, well, how much did you talk versus how much did they talk? And I was like, oh no.
All right, friends, I have a great episode for you today. Today's guest is Ali Buscemi, and we talk about her trajectory in this industry. So she's only been in the business for 6 years, but is absolutely crushing it. We talk about her strategies with clients, how being open and honest really matters, her strategies behind mailers, and video content creation. So stay tuned for all of that. Episodes like this just simply wouldn't be possible without sponsors. And today's sponsor, special sponsor, is Andy Bovender, who's the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. Him and his team have actually helped more than 5,000 families. So if you are an agent and you need a referral partner in the Carolina areas, they are 100% the team to call. With that, if you want to hang out with Allie and Andy and a handful of amazing other guests who have been on the show, I would highly recommend checking out the link for the Inner Circle group below. It's a group that meets 2 times a month. We talk shop, we share best practices, and more importantly, we share referrals. So if that's something that you are interested in, find that link and click on it now. And as always, I'm your host and referral partner out of San Francisco, Sean Conkler. Allie, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Of course. After learning about you, I was like, oh my goodness, we have to sit down and record. So here we go.
Let's do it.
You've had a really interesting, well, life and career in a very short span. You've made some waves in a really good way, and so I would love to kind of unpack that with you today. Um,
Sure.
let's get everybody up to speed super quick. I haven't done this one in a while, but in a couple sentences, who are you and where do you work out of?
Right. I am Allie Buscemi. I am a principal of AlleyCo Homes in Raleigh, North Carolina at Compass.
Nice. And you sell. You certainly sell. And how long have you been practicing real estate?
I have been licensed about 6 years. I would say the
Mm,
last four have been full time. The beginning was slow and bumpy,
yeah.
and I started with a little baby, and by the time I got my first deal under contract, I was pregnant with another one. And then there was a
Oh
pandemic.
my goodness.
Yeah.
How long did it take you from not the time when you got your license, but the time when you were like serious? Because I don't know if it's the same time to your first deal. How long was that?
I was serious at the gate, but what
Mm,
I kind of took for granted was that I was brand new in town. I had just moved to Raleigh and got licensed shortly thereafter. And I arrogantly assumed I would be a star out of the gate because at my first sales job, which I took right before moving, that was my experience. So I thought I would be one of those rookie of the year, 50 homes sold first year trophy winner. And that is not what happened. You know, you graduate real estate school and they're like, all right, now you call everyone you know in town, you tell them you're an agent, right? And I'm like, hi, mom, it's me.
guess
I'm an
what?
agent. Do you need to sell a house? No. And I'm like, okay, well, that's everyone I know. Great. Now what do I do?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
same bro. Yeah. I mean, unless you have a pretty good network, you eat shit for a while in this business because you're starting everything from scratch. It's not
Everything.
like I was in a similar boat. Like I've gone to jobs where I've sold and I had great, like right out of the gate, I did great. But then reflecting back on it, now with you, it's like, well, because the company had the infrastructure, the company had the relationship, the
Yeah.
company had these
The
leads
company
already
handed me my
extracted.
accounts, like
Exactly.
I
And you're
grew
like,
them,
oh,
but they're like,
like we're good.
here's this client.
So you're an amazing closer, but now it's like, well, now you got to open all of these opportunities, which is a whole
Yes.
different, it's just different. It's a different sales skill.
And then right after I was ready to rumble, actually when I was waiting to take my state licensing test,
Yeah.
was just when the pandemic blew up. So they
Oh,
say, like, okay,
Jesus.
take your class final and within 24 hours, take this state final. And North Carolina is one of the harder states to get licensed in. So I had that intention and everything shut down. And I had to
Oh,
keep
jeez.
that information in my brain for 3 months before I was able to take that state final.
Oof. That's
Yeah.
rough. I literally
Uh huh.
drove to my exam with flashcards.
Yeah.
Like study.
That's
I
the
was
idea.
cramming the day of.
Yeah. So to keep all
That's
that stuff in your brain. And of course, none of what you learn in real estate school is how to be an agent. It's just like how many square feet in an acre and various law
yeah.
terms. And, you know, after
I
you get
mean,
the license, you're like, I'm licensed, I'm ready, but you're not ready.
that's most industries. I talked to a buddy of mine who's a dentist, and he's like, they don't set you up to run a business. Like it's
Yeah.
not. It's about like teeth. It's not about
Hmm.
entrepreneurship, and it's like the bottom line is it's heavy entrepreneurship, and not only that, there's commercial, there's residential, there's being on a team, there's building a team, there's leasing agents. Like there's so many subcategories that never even it's like we don't
Hmm.
get taught any of that. I feel like, and this is my rant on a whole different direction, but I feel like that whole licensing and testing thing needs to be completely reevaluated.
Yeah. It's not terribly helpful. It's a low bar to entry and even still in North Carolina, but that test is still pretty hard. And I was at school with some agents who had to take it many, many times to pass, and they're doing great because it's not about that test.
No, and not for nothing. Like the test is this always like totally just irks me. But like on the test, for example, they'll give you like an A, B, C type answer, but they're like very nuanced and they're trying to trip you up. And I'm like, hold on, is this test about me knowing this knowledge, or is it me understanding the English language and the
Mhm.
nuance and subtleties in that? Because those are two different things. And so
Yeah.
like it's like what's the test, is the test actually about me knowing this information, because that's not how it's written. And so
No, they
it's
try to trip you up. It's like your first gut answer is the answer, basically.
yeah. But I digress. We don't have to keep bashing the tests, even though it's awful.
Mhm.
But so it took you a couple years to actually get your first deal. Do you remember where that client, like how you met them and how that was all
Right.
nurtured?
So it took 6 months to get my first deal, and I was trying.
Okay.
Of course, it didn't help that I'm in a new town. I need to meet people, and we're not allowed to
Yeah.
leave our houses because it's peak pandemic. And
Oh,
pandemic was
jeez.
amazing if you were working with those interest rates and you already had your business up and rolling, but I
Yeah.
did not, right? So
Yeah.
my first deals came from stalking Facebook groups in Raleigh, getting people that are asking questions that sound like they're relocating to the area. Now, I'm not the only person playing this game right? So there was a
Yeah.
learning curve on how do you actually get these people to talk to you? Because if you just put in the comments, I'm a realtor, I'd love to help you, blah, 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 like, okay, you and 50 other people. And eventually I learned that it's not about that pitch in the comments. It's how can you get them to start a conversation with you? How can you get into their DMs and you don't just shoot your shot, you ask a question and you never reply back without asking another one. And you just
Yeah.
keep that conversation going. And so even just learning to do
Brilliant.
that was huge for me. And then of course once you get that deal, you were just praying they don't ask you how many you've closed, what's your volume. That's your whole first year, right? Is just praying that no one asks you that. And
It's
if
totally
you
true.
operate with enough confidence, they don't. However, on
Hmm.
the back end, I got assigned a mentor at Coldwell Banker, and on the back end, I was calling him about everything. I was calling him at the lockbox, like, how do I open this? Like praying.
What do I
Driving
do?
home from the show. Oh my God, they want to put in an offer. What do I do? you know,
I, I was the same way, man. Yeah, I remember calling for everything. I was like,
everything.
all of it's new. Literally everything you're doing is a brand new territory.
Hmm.
It's like a part of the map that's not unlocked yet, and
Yeah,
everything
and
is
I
new.
was set on being a solo agent. I remember when my first broker was asking me which way I want to pursue, and she
Yeah.
pointed over at the trophy case and she said, "Do you want your name on one of those or do you want to contribute to one?" And I just the way I'm wired, I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want my name on one. I'm a
I
solo
want my
agent."
name on all of them.
Yeah. So, but then, I mean, blessedly, they did assign me someone that I could ask questions to.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do. I would go to the office every day and I would sit there and just hand write cards to people. I didn't know what else to do. I'd like find people who had lived in their homes at least 7 years in these like target areas
Yeah.
and I would just hand write hundreds of notes.
It's. I
I don't
remember
recommend that,
sitting
by
in.
the way.
I have the most horrible penmanship, but I remember finding a building. Like I did a bunch of research on San Francisco, and I found a building that had a lot of people who have owned for like that sweet spot
Hmm.
for in the city. It's like 7 to 14 years, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna literally write a handwritten note to every single person in that building, and I got a bunch of calls from it. Like it was actually really sweet. It's like a lot of older people who were like, "We're not thinking about selling, but we got your note. Thank you."
Yeah.
And
I got
and
some
but it
calls. I mean, handwritten does cut through.
it totally does. And I remember I would just put in a movie and sit down with the list and just like kind of have the movie in the
Hmm.
background and just writing them out. Um, yeah, and I think it, this is for those agents who are now in the 5 to 10 years. If you reflect back on all those things you did in the beginning that worked, why'd you stop doing them?
Right. Yeah. Handwritten notes are still part of my practice. I don't like farm like that anymore, but
Yeah,
I definitely crank out a ton of notes. But honestly, going and showing up at the office every day, even though no one was making
huge.
me, was hugely valuable because
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily that note writing time, but it was
Yeah.
overhearing other people's conversations,
Yes.
even listening in on someone who became a mentor of mine and still is, Steve Gunter, like listening to him and his team cold call and listening to them
Yep.
set appointments from scratch. I was like, wow, that is
Yeah.
amazing. And
There's
just
a
finding people
real.
for open houses and all of that came from
Yeah.
office time. I've always treated this like a 9 to 5. I'm an office rat, like I live here.
Yeah.
And I think people get licensed and they expect the business to appear and they wonder why that's not happening and how they don't feel plugged in, but they're not showing up.
Uh, Preach to the choir. I think showing up is the vast majority of it. The inner circle group that we're a part of, I think it was in
Hmm.
that group. Maybe it was a different one, but we were talking about hiring people to your team and finding
Hmm.
people who have the hard work ethic and trying to cut through the noise because everybody thinks they work hard, but then trying to figure out who actually works hard. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's like, oh, I show up, and you're like, but do you really show
Mhm.
up? Like in getting through the noise, like how are you defining showing up? Is it 1 day a week? Is it for an hour? Is it 5 days a week for 10 hours a day? Like what is it and how is it being defined? So
Mhm.
incredibly important. Um, but I want to rewind to what you were saying about going to these online groups and
Yeah.
looking for ways to create conversations. I think that's very nuanced and really important for people to hear, um, because it's not about you pitching to
Mhm.
them, it's about you creating questions to draw them into you. And
Mhm.
it's such a subtle, nuanced art that I think we as a community of agents don't do that enough. And that similar strategy at open houses was always my play. I never introduced myself. I never like talked about myself until I had the conversation going. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. My name is Sean. I didn't catch your name." And like but at that point, we've already had like this really good conversation. So I'd love to kind of go back and hear more about some of those strategies that you were
Sure.
doing in those quiet days of starting.
Well, a lot of it is learning by failing, right? Like I learned what was
100%.
keeping me left on red, and introducing myself, you're left on red. So it was exactly that,
Big
like
point.
questions about their life. Like my best opening question is like, what's motivating your move, or why are you moving here? And
Mm,
just getting them to talk about that relocation or the lifestyle or like whatever it is motivating them, starting with the motivator, opened up the
hmm
conversation. And it was the same at like my first list appointment. I love thinking about this. I thought I crushed it, right? And I called one of my mentors. I'm like, but he hasn't, they haven't called me. And he said, well, how much did you talk versus how much did they talk? And I was like, oh no. Like I definitely talked their face off for an hour. And like I did notice at a certain point their like eyes glaze over and I'm like reading this whole cheesy cobble banker book that they gave me.
Oh,
And
good lord.
yeah, I don't think they got a word in. So
Yeah.
unsurprisingly, no, I did not get that. And just that frame of, okay, well, how much did they talk? I was like, oh no. Because letting people talk is where you hear their motivation, where you hear what they're worried about and what
Yes.
matters most to them. And then you need to
Yeah.
tailor everything you do based on that. And the
100%.
more you let people talk, the better. So a lot of those, that beginning strategy was that asking the questions to getting the conversation going and never leaving that conversation with an answer with a period. It always had to be my answer, then a follow up question, answer and a follow up
Yeah.
question. Because it's just about like getting that appointment. And once you get the appointment, how can you follow up? How can you follow up? You can't just let it be dead. And I
Yeah.
did like a lot of weird stuff to get these first deals. Like it was in the Facebook groups, but I love thinking about this too. I also I go to, so I'm a big deadhead, okay? And if you're in like a culty world like this, like it is a way to connect people, right? So I would go to the Whole Foods parking lot. I would find deadhead stickers and I leave notes in their windshield. And I close
Okay.
deals like that. People call me 6 months later and hold my business card that whole time.
But what
Then
did the note say? Like, what was the hook?
it would say, "Hey, saw your sticker." I'd throw in a Grateful Dead quote, which is, "Tell me this, don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. If you ever need help real estating, I'd love to help you." Eventually, I even bought like North Carolina Deadhead stickers that throw that in there along with my card, and I would keep that
That's pretty brilliant.
in my car to
That's
plant.
amazing.
And one of my, not the first deal, but maybe the third was someone who, hey, like I don't know if you remember this, but you left a note on my car, and we're ready to look. It's like
That's
you do
wild.
whatever you can because it's about connecting, and
It's
that
about
gave me a way to
connecting.
connect. Because, like, I don't
Yes.
think a cold windshield note works if you can't connect.
No, I mean it would be like, "Hey, saw your car. It's cool."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you kind of let it cuts through the noise. And to your point, it's you found a community within that
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's a very close knit community.
Yeah.
Fun story for you. My friend Laura, who's a realtor, she sold the Grateful Dead house in San Francisco, the one that's in the Upper Haight.
Yeah. That's incredible. I actually,
Yeah.
it's funny, I use still uh, my love of the Grateful Dead to connect with people. When I go to retreat, I'll wear like
Yeah.
a pin. At the Charleston retreat, I had a whole like steely sweater on for the opening party. And if you don't know, you don't know. You don't
Right, right,
say
right.
anything. But if you do know, you are definitely coming up and talking to me. And now we have something
Yeah.
to talk about that's not just like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I know something. Well, let's exchange info, which is a conversation you had 200 times at retreat. Now we get
Yeah.
to talk about the Grateful Dead, and I take very tedious notes when I'm at these networking things as soon as I've talked to
Smart.
someone. So if I've talked to you about that, now you get GD next to your name. It's a separate tag on my CRM. And then when I'm sending follow up gifts, I was
Smart.
including little like steely deadhead like car stickers to people, and they love it. And like those people remember you, and it doesn't. If you're not a deadhead, it's the strategy's not dead to you, haha. You could do it with like your alma mater. If you go to one of
Yeah.
those schools that people are crazy about, if you wear like a little pin or tie or some kind of signifier for that, or just like some
Mhm.
conversation piece, you give something people to connect with you over. So you don't have to have that same conversation over and over. And
It's
then
true.
people
Yeah.
will remember you.
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple: set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy, you focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a brilliant strategy, and it's a not dissimilar from like sales context. When I
Hmm.
sit down, I'm immediately looking for things outside of the house. So I'm not just talking about the value of the home or whatever it may be, but I'm
Yeah.
actually looking for a way to create a connection with you, and so we can have this quick little tangent and find common ground. It's
Hmm.
very human psychology. It's like that's how we identify people who are safe. Like, are they part of these little subgroups that we're in? And then
Yeah.
you
And
kind of
that's why
run with
the
it.
walkthrough of the list appointment, when you have them first thing, what do they want to do? Well, show me around your house. Just give me the tour.
Yes,
You need to be looking for
100%.
clues that you can
Yeah,
connect to this person with and listening for what they're worried about or what they
yeah,
hope for.
yeah. It's funny now that you bring up that point. Like, there's two listings. My very first listing, I we did just that. I was like, hey, would you mind showing me around first? Then I'm happy to like sit down and we can go through these, like the nuts and bolts. And we went into the first room and I was like, my goodness, I'm like, that is an amazing art piece. Like, it was beautiful. And the husband like lit up and he's like, oh, he's like, I'm retired, but I'm an artist and that's mine. He's like, we'll show you the studio. And I was like, are you serious? Like, and the funny thing is, I have the piece in my It's like on my landing and my stairs.
That's
But that's what
awesome.
we had like this amazing conversation about his art, and then the tour of the home became an art tour, and it was like
Yeah.
it was incredible for me. Like I was excited to be a part of it, and I wasn't even looking at the house, and I was like, oh yeah, I could totally sell this, but like tell me about this piece.
Yeah. I mean, we are a dime a dozen. How many real? I think there's like 60,000 realtors in North Carolina. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
just I sell houses. Like it just no one cares. It's you and everyone else, you know? So how can
it's
you
true.
really connect? And it is authentic, right? Like I'm not like making up things I'm into. I'm just looking for clues of how I can relate to you, and that's what builds trust is connection.
Yeah. Well, in it, it's like I always liken it to relationships either can have like there's varying degrees of width of a relationship, right?
Hmm.
And like for example, the relationship you have with your dentist, it's very narrow, but it's really deep because it's on one specific topic. Unless you're friends with your dentist, then it goes wide. Like I'm actually friends with my dentist. It's one of my really dear friends' brother, and we all became friends. And so now the relationship is deep. I know he's like an incredible dentist with tons of degrees, but it's now wide. Like I know where he lives and his family. I know his kids. I know his dogs. And that's like we're looking for ways to make the relationship wide. Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
relocating. Where are you relocating from? New York City. Oh my gosh, I lived in New York. Where'd you live? And it's you're just looking for these threads of
Yeah.
how do I humanize this whole experience for them?
Well, a perk of my having moved so much is there are very good odds that I can say, "Oh yeah, I lived there. Where are you from?"
Yeah.
And I used to kind of shy away from the fact that I was new to Raleigh, right? Because I'm competing with these people. I'm Raleigh native, third generation Raleigh. So I would shy away from that. But then eventually I just leaned into it because there are so many
Yeah.
relocators. I help so many relocators, and now I can say, like, yeah, I get it. I did that myself, like figuring out which part of town or which burb is going to suit for me. Am I going to be able to have friends here? So I can empathize with that. I've been there myself, and I lean into that now instead of feeling insecure that I'm not born and bred Raleigh. I've moved. I
Well,
get moving.
I think from any sales seat, especially with real estate, because it's us personally, is
Hmm.
I'm a firm believer of take your perceived weaknesses, like I just relocated here, I don't know the area, and turn that into your attribute.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know the area, like I just moved here, blah blah blah. Like and I'm learning the area. Like great, well, why is that an attribute? Well, because I've had the same experience you have, and I can tell you all the
Hmm.
things to not do in this relocation. And it's like you immediately it flips the frame. And so
Yeah.
yeah, like anytime, like I have a martial arts background and I'm 5'8", and so I'm in comparison to like people I would spar against who were 6'3", I'm small, and it's like okay, why is that an attribute? It's like okay, I'm fast, great. I'm gonna just work on being incredibly fast, and
Yeah.
so I'm gonna dodge all of their strikes and hit them before they hit me and be gone. And so I just focused on that one thing, and I think that's so important to rewrite those stories, those sometimes the bullshit stories, as why is that a massive benefit for your client?
Same with me having a non-traditional career background. I
Mm,
that's a story I tell all the time, and
yeah,
people like to hear about it. And I bring the creativity like into my branding, because
yeah,
I want that to be apparent, and people love hearing about it, and it is been a benefit to the business hugely. Yeah, was a professional set decorator and stylist for years in the city, so that's how I treat my listings now. They are my sets, and the creativity of the marketing is part of the thrill of the job for me.
that's awesome. I saw the other day you tagged me on Instagram of your
Yeah.
like the backstory piece, and I loved it. It was such a great way to show that this past experience is a massive benefit for your clients. plain and simple.
Yeah. I mean, even when I did, it's called artist hospitality, right? So you're the point of
Mm.
contact for the band. I worked for Live Nation AG Live in New York City. This was like my weekend hustle. And I'd be the point of contact for the band. And my job really was to keep them out of the hair of the people actually in charge and, address their emergencies. What's your emergency on tour? I'm out of undershirts. I'm like, we can get you undershirts, man. But these are very, yeah, and set up the dressing rooms. Like, you hear those stories about like only green M&Ms. Like, I'm the one picking out the M&Ms. So I'd set up the dressing
That
room.
is
I'd be their point of
hilarious.
contact. And these are musicians. Like, they are difficult people. They are divas, all of them, some kinder than others. But really, the lesson there is you get across so much ground when you make people seen and heard. Like,
Yes.
tell me about that you're out of deodorant. That sounds hard. I'm going to get you some deodorant and we're going to work through this. Like, the smallest things people would get hung up on, and they really just need someone to stop, hear them out, and find a solution for them. So I would have like thousands of dollars cash in a fanny pack. I'd have runners that would go all over the city to grab me stuff. And at the end of the day, like, my goal was to make them feel good about the venue and the production company and say, yeah, I would play that festival again. I'd play that show again. So what seemed like on a surface level might seem like this, silly hostess job, in reality is hugely important. Like, it's hospitality.
Yeah.
And I loved the more difficult people, the people who would, just talk to me like I meant nothing. I was like, oh, you're going to love me by the end of this day. Like,
Yeah.
you got to see that as a challenge. You can't just like go backstage and cry about it. Like, you need to win them over, and game on. That's good stuff. And that is
I mean,
smooth stuff.
it's everything you just described sounds like closing a hard escrow. It's like
Yeah.
you got a couple grand in your fanny pack and you're just making shit happen. Like,
Hmm.
how do I just get everybody to do what they need to do to get this across the finish line?
Yeah. And I am never one of those people who will describe, I'm a shark, I'm a pit bull. Like, no, I'm a golden retriever. I'll say it again because I froze. I'm a golden retriever. People love golden retrievers. When I have a hard deal with, like, credit and repair negotiations, like, that's typically most contentious, right? Because everyone's all excited to get like the offer executed. Then you get into that second round, and that's when things can
Mm.
get nasty. And
Yeah.
yeah, I will join that energy if I have to, but it is my last resort. I like to get that list agent working for me. I want them to say,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll talk to them. Like, let me see what I can do for you guys. I understand. So getting that other person to work for me, getting that other
Yeah.
party to empathize with my people when things are starting to get nasty, bringing it back to a human moment, saying, listen, like, I know we're asking a lot here. You have to keep in mind these are young first time home buyers. This is all their money. Like, they are nervous. They really want this to work, but getting it softer in those moments where it's getting nasty is what makes people deliver a solution. Because as soon as everyone is in the nasty energy, no one's giving an inch. Then you're just like,
Oh, it's
we're not
brutal.
doing anything on principle. Like, fuck them. Excuse me, I don't know if I want to swear. But that's when no one gives. When you can come from a place of getting them to feel for your party,
Yeah.
and when the list agent starts telling me like, yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do for you guys. We're gonna work this out. Like, yeah, that's how I deliver solutions, not pitbull energy. And like, if I have to go there, I will. And there are some people who, you work on their side, you assume, because I'm young and I'm kind, that they can steamroll me, and they learn that's not true. But
Yeah.
golden retrievers close more deals than pit bulls. I'll tell you that.
I would agree. And not only that, the future forward is we all know those agents who leave a trail of broken glass and their
Yeah.
offer comes in and you cringe. You're like, I I cannot work with you for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like you just pray for somebody else's deal to come in.
And
Yeah,
I
I
have
think
other
you make
agents
a
in the
great point.
market who started referring to me so they can take a maternity leave. Or they move like a little, like an hour west of town, and I get all their Raleigh business now. And those were people I worked on the other side against because they
Yeah,
like me. And, or it's just
and
like
you get
trying
it
to
done.
recruit, why don't you come work for me? I'm like, that's really sweet. I'm building my own thing, but I appreciate you. But leaving those relationships is so important because everyone, like, I have agents that I've had to block from my phone. They're so nasty. And I'm like, you can email me if you need to deal with me. I mean, this is after a deal is over. But, like,
Yeah.
good luck to you when you need to show up at my next listing.
Dude, I
Mm-mm.
had an agent literally swearing at me on the phone, and I
Yeah.
hung up. I just straight up hung up. And then I texted him and I said, moving forward, all forms of communication will be email, and please CC my manager. I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm not playing that game. But you can
No.
smell it too on the agent when they're like, you can hear it in their language. Oh, we're not doing that. And you're like, I always think, we're? It's not your money. It's not even your house. It's not
Yeah.
your deal. Like, you're a facilitator. What's this we? Like, they get so wrapped up in this, in like the pit bull side of things, and you have to
They want
like,
to win, right? They want
at
to
all.
win and be right.
So,
But what the win is when the buyers get in the house they want and the sellers sell their house. That is the win. It's when
correct.
people feel like they want to win this like granular little moments that they end
Yes,
up
I
doing a
agree.
disservice for their clients. Because
Well,
what are they doing for their clients when they're being so nasty to you? Nothing helpful.
nothing. Well, I think the other problem is if they win, there's an implied loser and they
Yeah.
can't lose. And so you're like, well, hold on, let's rewind. Your clients want to sell, my clients want to buy. Let's help figure out how to connect those two dots, shall we?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the win. Funny enough, I had a client who was an FBI agent, and
I'm sure that was a good one.
like it was pretty fun. It was actually he was fun to work with, and we got countered a couple grand on the offer, and he was just like immediately was like, I'm not doing it. No, screw it. Nope, we're out. I'm not negotiating. It was like I'm not out negotiating with for hostages, blah blah. And it was just like this hard line, and I remember having a conversation with him, and I was like, do you like this house? And he's like, I do. I
Yeah.
was like, do you want to live in this house? He's like, I do. I was like, is it more important to win the war or the battle?
Yeah.
And and he was like,
Big picture helps when
yeah,
anytime a client is like, well, screw them, no, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, when you can zoom it out.
yeah,
Do you want to live in this house? Do you love this house? You don't have to marry the sellers, but do you want their house? Yeah. Okay, well,
yeah.
let's work it out.
Well, that and additionally, it's like the agent you're never going to talk to, the other agent who's being a flaming jerk, you're never going to talk to again. So let me deal with
No.
that. And you
Hmm.
decide if you actually want to live in this home. And if you do, then we'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
this goes back to your original point is sometimes people just want to be heard. The clients want to be,
Yes.
they want to be heard for being frustrated. They want to feel offended, and you have to let them feel their feelings. Like, just, it's fine. This is
Yes. And
frustrating. It
before
really
you
sucks.
answer them and try to, you know, talk them down or find reasons why they're wrong and being irrational, stop. Like, has anyone in the future or in the grand scheme of time ever calmed someone down by telling them to calm down? Like, no. You
No.
it has to literally be, I hear you. This is
Yes.
frustrating. This is how I think we can get around this. But it has to start with I hear you. Always.
Sorry, I keep looking over my shoulder. My dog is like being bonkers right now, and I'm just hoping she's not gonna like shred something. And so
It sounds like
I'm
you have a sweet
focused.
boy
I'm
dog
just
partner. Yeah.
similarly when, and I had an agent do this where I've had both experiences where you have to convey bad news, and
Yeah.
like if you're calling a client, I've learned is just hit it head on. Like, look, do you have a couple minutes? And they're like, I do. I don't have good news. Here's the problem. And just hit it head on. Because if you start the phone call with like, hey, how are you doing? Okay, so I just set you up for a fall, and like there's this situation, and you're like meandering around, like it erodes the conversation. And I similarly had an agent call me, and she was just like rambling high level about like all these different outcomes, and I was like, hold on, what's the problem?
Yeah,
Like
just
what are
tell
we at, like start me at the beginning. Like what's the situation, and we'll start there. But yeah,
and you
there's
have
like
to be
a
brave enough to tell people what they don't want to hear. I had to learn that the hard way too. Like
that one's hard.
with your sellers, especially, like you need to tell them the truth and not just try to make their life easy on the prep and,
Yeah.
buy into their fantasy. Like, we've all done CMAs when you so badly want to find a way for like their number to make sense. And it doesn't. But
No, it doesn't.
the braver you are, the more they, number one, trust you,
Yeah,
because from the beginning I'm saying, listen, like I'm gonna tell you the truth because I don't want to set you up to fail. I don't want to set me up to fail. It is very painful to go on the market at the wrong number,
yeah,
and I am always just going to tell you what I really think. I'm not gonna, and I also plant a seed about any competition, right? So I'm saying
yeah.
at the list appointment that I'm not going to try to buy your listing with some wild number or by saying yes to you if I think you're off base with the value. I'm
I
going
agree.
to tell you the truth. And then I've planted the seed that, hmm, maybe that other agent that said, oh, yeah, yeah, we can get that number. Now I've introduced the term buying the listing to them,
True. Yeah, you kind of
you know?
pre-frame something in their mind that they can decide on. I tell
Yeah.
clients, both buyers and sellers, like, let me just tell you about my work style. I'm always going to be upfront and honest with you, even if you don't want to hear it. I'm going to say it in a kind way, but I'm going to make sure that you have the information that I have so you can form the best decision moving forward. And if that's the agent you don't want to work with, then I'm not your guy. Like, I would
Yeah.
recommend going to talk to somebody else. And then later in that conversation, when they want to throw that lowball offer or they want to way inflate their price on the listing, then I'm like, hey, do you remember when I said I'd have conversations with you that aren't going to be comfortable?
Yeah.
Buckle up. Like,
Here
now's
we
one of
are.
those times. But I'm going to show you how I arrived there. But I want to make sure that you know the information that I have so you can form the best decision moving forward.
Yeah.
And
And
nine
my
times out
goal
of ten,
isn't to win the conversation, right? I'm not trying to win this moment. I want you to have a
yes.
successful sale.
Um,
Yeah. It
but
takes
I
confidence to be able to do that.
yeah, and it does. It takes it. Yeah, I thankfully had a lot of like knees to knees negotiations when I was selling, and so I had really learned to just get really comfortable being uncomfortable. And so
Hmm.
now I'm like really casual about it, and it kind of rolls off of me. But it was hard to get to that point. It was very hard to get to. It was hard to arrive here, is my point.
Yeah. And now I'm at the point where, I mean, I don't mean to be flippant. Like, of course, I'll be disappointed sometimes if it's a listing I really wanted. But now I'm like, if you don't choose me, that's fine. Like, I work with people who are excited to work with me, and I have enough of them. So if you really don't agree on my pricing strategy or how I operate, like, thank you, next. We're good. And that took a while too, because I did used to like lose sleep, maybe have a little cry over it. Like,
Same. Yeah, I feel like, well, I mean, when you're brand new and you have one or two sales under your belt, one
yeah,
sale is a big deal.
sure.
When you have, you're at the latter part of the year and you have a handful of sales and your your savings account looks fine, it's a little easier to get through. And so, yeah, it's
And
context.
And be brave enough to ask why you didn't get it. I do that every
Yeah.
time. Thank you so much for updating me. If you would be so generous, could you tell me some factors that influence your decision? I would love to take that and improve.
Yeah.
And
You
sometimes
have
they
a
don't answer, but a lot of times they do. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even consider that. And now I'm plugging that
yeah.
into my next list presentation. That's how I got ahead of like, I'm not going to buy your listing. Or when have lost listings to these big teams, and the person says, well, they had a big team to facilitate the sale. Like, you don't need a big team to facilitate the sale.
They just
So now
sold
I
the
get
big
ahead of
team.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
so now I get
So
ahead of it. I'm not a big team that's going to pass you off to the junior agent once you sign and then pass you off to the closing manager and pass you off. I had to give boutique service start to finish. So now I'm ahead of every objection that anyone has ever given to me is now gets embedded. But
yeah.
being brave enough to ask, and for buyers too, like when
Same.
sometimes they say, oh, we're going to work with this other person. Would you be so generous to tell me why? It is very helpful for me.
Yeah. It's it like on our team we call it inoculating the objection. So there's like you're pre-framing some pieces, but then other
Mhm.
pieces you're inoculating them. Where then when they evaluate that other thing that's seemingly better, it's not because you've
No.
already gotten like way far ahead of that thing. But you have a
Yeah.
really brilliant use of language for
Oh,
framing and pre-framing and setting up the conversation. I don't I talk to a lot of agents, but not a lot are this strong in this category.
oh, thank you. Once a professor told me I had a moderate talent for language. What a sweet burn. Thanks, Betty.
You know what I just heard though
Moderate
is
talent. Thank
somebody
you.
just like somebody went through a list of people like Jane Goodall didn't have a degree in animal studies and like Joe Rogan has zero broadcasting skills and like there was like a whole list of people who didn't have the degree or education or anything in that category and were the leaders of that category and I was like oh
Yeah,
that's
I have a degree in art and art history, and I have a fashion design degree from Parsons. You know?
but but you also really understand humans and so I mean
Yes. And
which
emotional intelligence is like the biggest factor of our job success, I think.
Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show. Far ahead of that thing. But you have a
Yeah.
really brilliant use of language for
Oh,
framing and pre-framing and setting up the conversation. I don't I talk to a lot of agents, but not a lot are this strong in this category.
oh, thank you. Once a professor told me I had a moderate talent for language. What a sweet burn. Thanks, Betty.
You know what I just heard though
Moderate
is
talent. Thank
somebody
you.
just like somebody went through a list of people like Jane Goodall didn't have a degree in animal studies and like Joe Rogan has zero broadcasting skills and like there was like a whole list of people who didn't have the degree or education or anything in that category and were the leaders of that category and I was like oh
Yeah,
that's
I have a degree in art and art history, and I have a fashion design degree from Parsons. You know?
but but you also really understand humans and so I mean
Yes. And
which
emotional intelligence is like the biggest factor of our job success, I think.
I would 100% agree with you. I mean, it's even conveying a piece of art. It's the way that you're talking about it, or pre-framing it, or setting up what that person's about to experience. It's all
Yeah. Because what we do is not about the product at all.
not
Like
the person is
the
the product.
homes, yes. And you are the product. Like the homes, I mean, obviously I put a lot of effort into presenting my listings and they're my portfolio. I'm very proud of what I do, but
Yeah,
essentially as long as you have a baseline of professionalism, that product is selling itself in our market. If it's priced right, if you have any level of professional photos, that product is selling itself. What you
I
are
agree.
actually doing is you're selling the experience to the person, and that is what
Yeah.
they ultimately care about. It's just so much less about the house and so much more about them, and you are the product, right?
Yeah.
So creating trust is so important, and that's why video has been so important to me when it comes to
Yes.
generating business without a sphere. That is, video is a fast track to like no trust on a large scale.
I could not agree more. I mean, you get to, I mean, you can name numerous instances where you've never met a person and know so much. Like, I'll give you an example. James Bond, fictional
Mhm.
character. How much do we know about him? Like, you know, the drink he prefers, you know, the watch he wears, you know, the car he
Yeah.
drives, like, you know, his profession, and you've never had a conversation with this fictional character. Like, they don't exist. And
No.
that's online. That's how agents can get to know you out of your market so they can send you
Hmm.
clients. They're like, oh my God, Allie is really, you know, she just really connects with clients really well. I think, you know, Susie and John are really going to connect with her and love working with her. Let me give her a call.
And those leads are so warm. My Instagram business, my YouTube
Those are
leads,
amazing.
they're not cold. They already like me. They already
Yeah.
like me. They already have a sense of what it's going to be like to interact with me. And at that
Hmm.
point, you just need a baseline level of competency. I have more than a baseline level of competency. But I'm saying, like, at that point, you just don't fumble the ball. Like, that is
Pretty return
the
the call.
warm lead. That is, they already like me. And I always ask,
Yeah.
on my intake forms, how did you find out about me? And if they say Instagram or YouTube, when I have that first consult, I say, okay, I see you found me on Instagram. Can you tell me like a little more specifically, like why did you want to reach out? And the vast majority of times they say it just seemed like it'd be a positive experience to work with you, or we thought this
Yeah.
would be fun, or you just seem so passionate about your job. And the more I leaned into being myself online and not being like professional realtor robot, the more
Yeah.
business I generated.
I, yeah, especially on. So if you look at AI and the rise of AI with videos,
Mm-hmm.
AI videos are actually consumed less than real humans. And now if you
People
add in
know.
flaws, like just normal like nuances of human, those videos tend to do better. Like the funny ones that you didn't expect it to go that way because it was
Yeah.
human, like those get consumed better. And so I completely agree. I mean, that's when people connect with you. But I also really like, which I hope people pick this up. It was really subtle, but you said, "How did you hear of me?" And then why did you decide to reach out? Like that second
Mm-hmm.
question to that was so important. And did you know, like
Yeah.
on a psychology level, you typically have to go, if you asked variations of that question now 5 more times, you'd actually get to the emotional driver. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how many times you'd have to ask 7 times before you can get to that level of depth with the person. So I would encourage people to just keep asking questions because you get so much more depth out of that conversation with them.
When I was building out my brand, so after 2 years, like spinning my wheels, having another newborn, pandemic, after that second baby was 6 months old, and I'm like, wow, I'm not meant to be a stay at home anything. I need to work. Um, and I was, desperate to get back in it. I thought, okay, maybe I would like a team experience, right?
Mm.
I didn't ever want business handed to me, but I wanted a close touch mentor who I admired.
Yeah.
And I had also always admired the Compass brand. It was brand new in Raleigh at the time. And at the time, I didn't qualify to be here as a principal. So
Yeah.
I saw an agent that I had just known of because I knew someone else on her team, and she'd always say, "Oh, you know, doing this open house for Kate, or we're going to work together in this listing, all these opportunities." And I was just like, oh, that sounds nice. So when her name's Kate Kenny, she's amazing. We're still very close. When she came over to Compass and said, I'm building a team, I was like, yeah, take me with you. And so I did 2 years with her, which was wonderful. Like she was
Amazing.
that close touch mentor. And I mean, her office is literally 2 doors down. We're still very close, and she was so supportive of me
Love it.
launching all this. Like when the day came, I went to her office. I was like, "Hey, Kate, do you have any time to talk today?" She's like, "Are you ready to tell me it's time?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
She's smart.
you know,
She knew.
yeah." But when I was building out like all this branding and imagery and all that, I did an exercise where I asked some of my like oldest, closest friends, like, "How would you describe me? What are
Mm,
my strengths?" And getting all that back, hearing it from other people, really helped cement and inform what the brand should be. And that's why
mm.
the tagline on Instagram is selling Raleigh with style and joy, because that is what I kept hearing. And a lot about like
That's cool.
drive and energy and fun. So that's what I wanted to show up in my branding. And it's interesting that same workshop, when I said I was going to have this kind of like whimsical imagery and use hot pink, they're like, "Well,
Mm.
that's really loud and that's feminine." And I was like, "Yeah, uh huh, I'm really loud and really feminine." But guess who comes to me on Instagram? Like it's the wives. They are
Yeah.
picking the agent. So they said that as a negative, and I was just like, perfect, loud and
I mean,
feminine.
brilliant
Right.
branding, if you look at it, it always attracts a group and it always repels everybody else.
Yeah. If
Like
you
Grateful
if
Dead, you talked about in the very beginning. Like you all attract each other, and then
yeah.
anybody who's not in it, it repels them. And so now you have like this really hyper insulated group, and you guys are all like, "Hey, we're family. Like this is our thing. This is our little spot over here."
Well, people get really tripped up on, oh, well, I want to attract everyone. If you are trying to be appealing to everyone, you are appealing to no one.
A hundred
And I
percent.
talk about that when it comes to making my content as well on Instagram. Who are you talking to? If you're talking to
Yeah.
everyone, you're talking to no one. If your tagline is buy, sell, invest, I do everything, that means you're an
Uh,
expert at nothing.
yeah. I cover all areas: buy, sell, invest. I do rentals.
Yeah.
I do
It's like,
commercial. I do, like,
okay, well,
Jesus.
what are you good at? Why are you different? If you don't, again, we're just a dime a dozen. So the differentiators are
Yeah.
so important. And that goes into my list presentation too. Out of the gate, I'm like, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what everyone does. Like, we're all going to put the
Yeah.
sign out, we're all going to put you on MLS. Let me tell you about what I do differently, because that's all anyone needs to hear.
It's true, and um, uh, but that's hard. Like yeah, I think it's 100% valid. It's really incredibly important, but it's like to be a really well-rounded business owner, you
Hmm.
have to have all of these skills, or you have to be able to hire the right people to do it.
Yeah.
And and I think unfortunately there's 2.5 million agents, and so if you just run the numbers, a lot of these people just aren't going to understand the nuance of brand or branding or
Yeah.
attracting the ideal client and repelling this other group. Especially if you're coming from a place of scarcity, you're like, oh, wait, what? I'm supposed to not attract that group of people? Like, it's like, it'd be like a dentist, like, oh, who do you work with? Well, anybody with teeth. And you're like, that's not how it works. Like, do you work with just children or adults or older adults? Do you maybe just do dentures? What's your thing? Like, it's not,
Hmm.
you don't just, it's not just anybody with teeth. But I think in the defense of the general agent, it takes a while to, like, you either study and know these things or you don't, and a lot of them don't. And I'm not
Yeah.
throwing shade; it's just the reality.
It also takes some discovery to figure out like who do I want to work with. Because at
Yeah.
first, like I spent all this energy doing like a first time home buyer seminar, and I converted a ton of them. It was well worthwhile. And I still am happy to take help any first time home buyer comes to me. But that's not what my marketing is focused on anymore because, they call their moms too much. And like, I'm your mama now. You don't need to call her. So after dealing with that group, I was like, okay, well, maybe like I'm going to naturally bring in some of these people just because my age, but that's not who I'm targeting anymore. I love relo and I love a move up buyer. So then that led into like another kind of focus group exercise where I just went on social media and I said, if you want to move into a bigger home or if you did in the last year, can I talk to you for a half hour? And number one, that was helpful because all these people raised their hands. And I'm like, okay, great. Now I know you want to move. But also, I just interviewed them about, like, okay, what was like the final straw that decided that you were going to finally pull the trigger? What was your ideal outcome? Like, if you could have snapped your fingers and had what you wanted, what did that look like? What were you
Great questions.
most worried about? What was your like, what did you keep, what kept you up at night when it came to this? What did you want in an agent? Like, what was attractive to you in an agent? What repelled you in an agent? So interviewing them was very helpful. And then I used that, I did that with about 6 people. And then I used that to inform a lot of the content because I see agents say, okay, I'm going to show up on Instagram, right? So either they do the first thing, which I think a lot of people start with, which is like market data and like very dry professionalism, and you can guess how that performs. It doesn't. Like, no one cares. I remember the first time I like belabored a market report on Canva, like, the very first day when the last month's numbers were posted, and like, who likes it? Like my mom. Like,
Yeah.
it does not perform, it doesn't connect. So the
Nope, nope,
other
nope.
bucket people will fall into, okay, I want to be on social, I want to be a little funny, I want to entertain. And then they start putting out content for other agents. Like,
Yeah.
why are you griping about your job on Instagram? Why are you griping about your clients? Why are you making fun of them? People will do that. I'm like, unless you're trying to make a meme page like the broke agent, why would anyone call
Right.
you? Made fun of their dad at the inspection, or whatever it is that we see people, or then the sellers did this
Yeah.
and that, or when the sellers do this, and like they're trying to make funny, relatable content. But who is the content for? Every single piece you should make, who is it
Yeah.
for? Who are you trying to talk to? If you were just trying to talk crap about your own clients to bond with other agents, that's not going to generate anything.
Well, not only that, then the agents know that you just talk a lot of smack about your
Yeah, like
clients
who's going
behind
to
their
refer to
back.
you if you
And
are
it's like
so
it's
bogged down about your job that you're like constantly crashing out on Instagram?
that's
That ain't it.
the other really funny one. Like you talk to an agent, especially the newer ones. Oh, I'm so busy, and they just tell everybody they're so busy. And I always think, do you say that to potential clients? Because if I heard that, like if I went to a dentist and they're like, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm overwhelmed. I have so much to do." I'm like, "I'm not booking an appointment with you. I don't want that person to make a mistake."
Yeah, and I've learned that hard lesson too. Like early on, someone said they wanted to work with a different buyer's agent because I sounded so busy and they
Yeah.
didn't think their business mattered to me. And I said, first of all, thank you so much for that feedback, which is the only way to respond to negative feedback, by the way. Thank you so much for telling me that. I never want anyone to feel like that. Can you tell me more about what happened there, or like what I said, or like, would you be so generous to give me a little more? And the one thing they said was they needed to book a showing. It was, and in my mind, this client wasn't even ready to buy yet. They were waiting for a sale in a different state. They weren't really ready, but they wanted to do this showing. And I said,
Hmm.
I have a buyer on that date. They're a seller too. They're about to be homeless. Are you available this day? And in my mind, like, okay, I can't do it Tuesday. I can do it Thursday. Like, what's the big deal? But what they heard was someone else matters more. Ugh.
True.
Okay. So yeah, it's rejections are protections, okay? Like maybe this person would
Mhm.
have been a diva from start to finish if they were so touchy about me being busy on a certain day. However, am I ever going to bring up another client again? No. Everything is an appointment. Same with stuff with my kids. There's no like,
You
oh,
know,
I
it's
gotta pick up Johnny from school. No, I have an appointment then, but I can help you here.
yeah. I mean, it's I mean, if I was like, hey, you meet somebody and you're like, hey, I'd love to take you on a date on Tuesday, and they're like, no, I have another date on Tuesday. How about
Yeah.
Thursday? Like that's how it would feel. Like that's
Yeah.
how they probably perceived it. And it
They
doesn't feel good.
absolutely.
And at that
No.
point you're like, "Oh, you're just dating around. I don't want to date you." It's
Yeah,
like you're
I'm
out.
not special to you. Or the same reason
Yeah.
I've learned the hard lesson of like losing people in that middle pipeline. That's 6 months. Because to me, I'm like, you're not ready. You don't need me.
Yeah,
And then when I do
100%.
that check-in, they've already moved forward with someone else
Yep.
because they wanted to feel special all along the way. Like I've learned that lesson too by neglecting that
So,
far out pipeline. So you focus on the new business, the start of the pipeline, and you focus on
yep.
the people who need you right now. But if you neglect those people in the middle, you lose business. And I've learned that too, hard way.
So I ran a martial arts school years ago, and at the school, Greenbelt was the middle rank. That was the largest group that dropped out and quit.
Yeah, it's hard.
The middle group, because the
Yeah,
beginners get all the love and attention, and then the advanced students got all the love and attention. But when you were in the middle doldrum is when you didn't feel any love and attention and you quit. And it's, you make a great point. It's those B buyers or sellers who are in that doldrum, and
yeah,
it's like, and you just kind of leave them be. Like, oh, they're just not ready. Like they're waiting for this thing to happen, and
yeah.
like maybe they are, but sometimes they're just not. They just weren't mentally ready or whatever. And so those are the ones. You're right, 100%. Like those are the ones that slip through.
Yeah, and for
Because
me,
the
like
A's,
it's not naturally going to come to your mind, then it's okay, now they're on the action plan, right? And they're tagged a certain way so the
yeah,
CRM is going to prompt me every
yeah,
other week, every 3 weeks, whatever makes sense. That you need to
yeah.
find a reason to talk to them. Or just,
It's
they're on a collection, but say, hey, did you see this listing? It really reminded me of you guys. Hope all is well. Like just any reason to keep the conversation going. And so I have to rely on things like that because obviously what's the forefront of my mind are the people who need me right now. And then I spend a lot of
yeah.
effort generating pipeline, but that middle
Hmm.
and the messy middle of the career is hard too. Like it was,
Always. The middle's always the hard.
yeah,
Like in relationships, it's the middle. It's like, yeah, it's it's interesting now that I'm thinking about it. It is that middle, the middle part is when it gets like overlooked and neglected a little bit, and it needs a little bit of
yeah,
love, which is interesting. And this is now probably literally the first time I'm ever talking about this, and so you'll be the first to hear it along with the guests. But I've been working on a project with Susie Adamson,
oh,
and
she's
it's
amazing.
a
I would coach with her.
I absolutely love her. She's so brilliant in her
Hmm.
system. Like the way she thinks about systems and process is it's what I need in my life.
Yeah.
But we've been working on a deck of cards, so a 52 card deck, and each card is an activity for you to spend time on your business. And we actually were working on it yesterday, and there's a whole section specifically for those bees, the bee
Yeah.
buyers, the bee sellers, where you're giving them some love. And it's the cards are so that you are very proactively giving and doing like giving them the attention that they need to convert them.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. Susie is amazing. She has a part of her brain that I don't, and that's why I hire her,
Yeah.
right? Like my first experience coaching was very traditional coaching. She was very helpful for me. Like when I was first launching my brand, it was a lot of operations. Okay, file this for your LLC, no, file this for the state. Like just getting the business entity set up was very helpful. But it was very much the
Yeah.
traditional. Did you make your calls? Did you, prospecting, pushing, and it was great for that year. However, like I'm a good salesperson. Like I can generate business and
Yeah.
but what I'm not is a talented ops gal, So hiring someone like Susie, who
Yeah.
is so brilliant in that department, was immensely helpful. And she also hired my assistant for me. I was like, I am drowning. I cannot review 200 resumes right now and do
Yeah.
20 initial interviews. Help me. So
Yeah.
and I think she's launched that into a whole like service package now, because when you're at the point where
Smart.
you need an assistant, you don't have time to hire an assistant. So she did
Yeah.
all the resume reviews, all the initial interviews. I only interviewed like the top 3 people. And it was
And you know who also is really horrible at interviewing people? Salespeople.
because we want you to
Because
like us.
exactly, we're trying to sell you on why you should work for us instead of being like a good interviewer and figuring out if
Yeah.
that person is ideal. I figured that out from having a conversation with Benice on the podcast. I was like, oh, that's why I suck at hiring people. Like, I'm trying to win you over. And I'm like, it's the
Yeah.
wrong
I
thing.
want them to like me. I'm trying to hire another agent right now, and I'm
Same.
already
It's
like,
hard.
okay, I'll do the first interview because like the energy, vibe, personality stuff is very important with this partner agent. However,
Yes. Yeah.
Susie, can you do the objective interview for me?
Oh, that's brilliant. I didn't
Yeah.
even, I am totally going to call her up and ask that. Oh my gosh, that's so brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow, you just like that was worth the price of admission right there.
There you go. Hire Susie Adamson. There's the hot tip.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Yeah, that would make it way easier. Holy cow.
yeah,
Um,
you just need someone else. Like we can't become someone else. And
no.
that's another lesson. Like with the YouTube. Like I don't want to learn how to be an editor. I don't want to I don't have time to write the scripts and do the research. So I hired a production company, and like it's
Which is
expensive.
smart.
But what I was not going to do was spend all this time and effort filming and have nothing happen because I am not an expert at it. So I hired an expert.
And that's where agents have to step back and figure out the math, figure out the efficiency is it you're running a business and then this is what I had to do and it was a hard activity, but I had to like step back and strip away who I was to the business and be the CEO. And then,
Yeah.
okay, I have this salesperson who's good at closing. Is it a good use of their time to do blank? And then it's like
Yeah.
when I think of it like that, like, is it a good use of time for them to do the editing? And you're like, well, of course not. Like, they're good at driving revenue, not spending the revenue. So, like, have them drive more revenue. And then it becomes easier to be like, okay, well, then how do we structurally, what's the business need to look like to then hire that editor or the videographer, whomever, or whatever that thing may
Yeah.
be.
And guess what? Just because you like watched a tutorial on it, like you're not going to be as good as someone who that's all they do. Like my YouTube company, this is all they do.
I know,
Like
and
no
you're
matter how much I
crushing
put
it.
into it. Oh, thank you. It is wow, is it a commitment? I mean, even just like putting on doing hair and makeup some days, like it's like I don't feel like looking nice. I don't want to be energetic. But consistency is so important in that game. And
A
if you're in
hundred
a
percent.
reload market, YouTube is so huge. Like it's owned by Google. It's bringing in it's such a huge search engine because people don't
Yes.
get a gist of what is it like to live here from articles.
Mm-mm.
And it is just it's overlooked, I think, and
Mhm.
it is already so impactful. And I feel like I have an inquiry or two every day. I mean, hence hiring the agent because I felt
Yeah.
like I was already on the precipice of like what how much business one human can do in this last year. And now I added, because I'm psychotic, added a whole nother lead gen channel. And now I'm like, okay,
Well,
we
and
can
again,
partner with
it goes back to your early point where somebody sits down to watch a video. They're like, okay, let me see if this is a place I want to live. Like, do they have really
yeah,
good, parks and restaurants, and do they have the things? And oh wow, Allie's really cool. Like, I really like her approach and her style, and
yep,
she's fun and light and great energy. You know what? Let me just give her a call. And it's like you
yeah,
bypass all of these filters
uh huh,
because you're providing value, you're educating them, you're sharing insider information, like you're getting them way ahead of everybody else. And so
And
it's
so many of my own
brilliant.
clients were like, yeah, we watched a ton of YouTube videos when we were thinking of relocating, but we don't really want to work with her. So we found you on Instagram. I'm like, oh, well, I should just be on YouTube then. And when you're yourself, and like you're showing your energy, then yeah, again, these are very warm leads. Like I got an email. It's like we'd like to hire you to be our representative. I'm like, you don't even want to do the meeting and like hear the pitch. Okay, yeah, let's go.
You're like, great, let's go. We're up and running.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
I know our conversations on the side about that have definitely inspired me, and we're structuring right now to be able to get that all up and running.
yeah.
Because the
It is
podcast isn't enough for me to be doing.
right. Well, a lot of it also is inspired. I had a friend who was doing like another like coaching challenge program with Holly Meyer Lucas. I don't know if you know her; she's a star. But she had this great little like 90-day challenge or something, and I did it. And I met an agent there in Florida, and she shared that she had done a YouTube channel for 6 months, 2 videos a week, which is like a ton of work.
That
And she
is,
had nothing from it, no business whatsoever. And then she said that she made change at that 6 month mark. To her credit, did not give up, made a change at this 6 month mark, and then started
mm.
seeing flow immediately. So of course I was like, hey, can we get on a call? Can I just skip that part in it?
This beginning crappy part, I don't want to do.
Yeah, can I just do that, whatever you did at that 6 month mark to make this work? And
Oh,
yeah, that's how I am today. We've only been at it for, let's see, 3 months. And I mean, I must have like 30 leads, like a lot of people I'm actively showing. Some like buy sells in Raleigh that need
that's
to list and buy,
crazy.
like $2 million bundles of business locally, reload people. And, there's 1,000 subscribers now. And it is all because I went to people who know what they're doing instead of spinning my wheels on my own. But I will say, there's agents in my office who they might be like editing on Fiverr or something,
Yeah,
but they're closing deals on YouTube too, writing it themselves, just
that's
showing up.
baller.
Yeah,
Um, so I have a pitch for you. For our inner circle group, I would
yeah,
love for you to kind of host a session and share your YouTube experience with the group. I mean,
yeah,
I think it would be massively beneficial
yeah.
if you're
I'm
open to
happy
it.
to. I am. I feel like I need a few more like months to be converting. I feel like there's still lessons
Sure.
to learn
When
from
you're ready,
it.
you have the
Yeah,
open enrollment.
but when I'm starting, I'll call you. I'm pretty close to that first like YouTube closing. That might feel good, but there's. I'll sing the praises of. I'm not like a gatekeep gal, even in my own office, because number one, like 5% of the people are going to even implement what you tell them,
Hmm.
and number two, even if they do it, even if we all do it, my product is me. It doesn't matter if anyone else takes my formula. I am me, and they are them, and we are going to attract our own people, and there's enough to go around.
And here's my math. There's 2.5 million agents in the US. You and I, we're doing just fine. We're eating every day.
Yeah,
We have a house overhead. We have nice cars. We're fine.
yeah,
Like
I do
there's,
not
to your
get.
point, there's plenty to go around, and not for
Mhm.
nothing. Like according to the Pareto principle, is 80% of the production is done by 20% of the group. And so,
Yeah,
but within the inner circle group, there's nobody from Raleigh. And so
I do love that.
providing value, what's that?
Yeah, I said I don't mind that.
Right. And so then all roads then lead to you, and you're getting to hang out with 50 amazing top performing
Yeah,
agents across the US who,
honestly, yeah, sharing things that work for me has also been a great avenue for referral business. I have
yeah,
presentations ready to go. I have a whole pitch on not a pitch, rather a deck on generating business on Instagram. I have a deck on how to strategically go about networking events and follow up best practices.
Oh,
And when I
geez.
meet other team leads, I say, like, because they're always desperate for like material for their team meetings. A lot of them are virtual. Say, hey, if you ever need someone, I'd love to talk to your group about this thing I do that works. And
Yeah.
I give those presentations wherever and whenever I can. And it's been great for business. 40% of my volume last year and the year prior was just from the Compass Network. And it's from showing up.
Crazy. I mean, that's, when you show up with value, like
Mm-hmm.
you show up to a relationship to give something, not get something, it changes the dynamic. And that goes all the way back to the beginning of when you were talking about crushing it on Facebook. It wasn't like, pick me, pick me, pick me, but
Yeah.
it was volleying it to them with a question and then building it
And it
from there.
and it can't just be transactional, like what can this person do for me?
Correct.
That energy goes nowhere. It's just
Uh,
making real relationships. And I've had real
yeah.
relationships with people, and I know they know someone in Raleigh that they're in like this group with or whatever. But like, I just find them interesting, and like maybe I can learn something from them, and they're a friend. I don't care. I treat them the same way as I treat all my like a group of referral agents, because I really
Yeah.
do treat the referral sphere like a client sphere. And
As we
I don't
should.
go about it with what can you do for me? Because we've all get those emails where it's like, I'm your referral partner in this
For
town. Love your
35%.
business. And I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like I
Awful.
send a quarterly referral partner email, and it's about what's my strategy right now, like, and it's something helpful, or it's just encouraging, and or something I
Yeah.
learned, or takeaways, and it is never, hey, do you have business for me in Raleigh? I'm your gal. Because what does that mean? Nothing.
It, that's like this whole podcast is you're sharing,
Mm-hmm.
right, for free, and it's going out,
You're
being
not paying me?
shared. No surprise, you're not getting the check in the mail. But then it's going out to our colleagues, and then
Yeah.
there's a handful of amazing nuggets, great reminders, um, for agents to grab onto and build their
Mm-hmm.
business, and then it builds this reciprocity. And that, funny enough, our email goes out to, I don't know, about 10,000 agents or so, and it's all about, hey, Allie shared this, and here are her strategies around this, and blah blah blah. And it's, here, let me help you, actually do more business.
Yeah.
And our open rate on that newsletter, it usually hovers between 93 to 95% of an
That's
open rate,
wild.
which is crazy. But
Yeah.
that's two things, right? It's three things. It's me having a very clear brand and identity, having a very clear target, and then providing something of value specifically for that group.
Yeah.
That's all
Giving
it
to
is.
get is everything. And it feels so good as a way to operate. And it also
Yeah.
just works. Like right here, taped under my computer is how much value can you give today? How good can you make people feel?
Oh,
And
it's such a nice way to just approach,
yeah, it feels
like,
good.
just approach life. Like, it just feels
Like
good.
you're not just worried about I do this for you, you do this for me. How much can I give? And that's been true also locally. Like I have been some really big supporters of some small business owners here, and I just supported them and shared their stuff and came to their events, and because I just thought they were just badass women, and I liked them, and it felt good to operate like that. And one of them, who's like a very successful business owner and influencer locally, she always calls me when there's a sponsorship opportunity. I'm her agent right now. Like she refers me, she
There
shares
you
my
go.
stuff. And once she straight up told me, she's like, I have agents in my inbox every day asking for this, asking for that, asking for this, asking for that. And then they don't support my new endeavors at all. All you have done is support me, and you've never asked for anything. And for that reason, you will always be the first person I call. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that is not a end game that I predicted. I just
Yeah.
like loving on people and I admired her, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
same with gifting. Like I have $4,000 of sweatshirts in my office right now that we thoughtfully designed with my designers that we are giving
Love
away
it.
to, yeah, I'll send you one,
That's
to
cool.
friends, referral partners, clients, of course, just like
Yeah.
anyone. And like, is there any way to measure the ROI of a sweatshirt? No. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's just, it feels so, it's fun to send mail joy. Like, I'm big on sending fun mail. And
Male
just
joy.
like, yeah,
I love
because
that.
most of
That is
mail is
such a good
not joy,
term.
right? Most of mail is not joy. So when I send
Yeah. So
something out,
the
like the packaging is branded to me and like it's cute and it's fun to open. And it's like made me well up, like seeing all these people like posting their pictures with like a sweet
that
shout
is
out to me
super
on
cool.
Instagram, like wearing it. And like, is there any measurable ROI? Probably not. But every time anyone pulls that out, they're seeing AlleyCo, and it also says Raleigh. So they're tying my name and my location
Of
together.
course.
And yeah, I might not be able to like track that, what comes in from it, but it's a fun way to operate.
And again, you hit like there's tangibles with marketing and then there's non-tangibles, and the joy that you and they receive, that's an obviously it's a non-tangible, but
Yeah.
that joy gets connected to the brand and to you ultimately, and so then people associate you with feeling good, which is like that's the most ideal way any company can operate. It's funny with regards to the mailing stuff. We have a house rule: nothing can go out in a white number 10 envelope, which
Yeah.
is it's the bill.
The basic letter envelope. Yeah.
Like you can't send the bill. Like we never. It's always a square or like an odd size, and then our branding is blue, and so it's a blue
Yeah.
envelope, or it's like so when people see it, and it's always got to be handwritten, is the other
Hmm.
house rule. If we're mailing something out, it has to be handwritten, and so this way when you see it in the mail, you're like, I know for me, if I see something handwritten, regardless of the size of the envelope, that always gets opened first, always.
Yeah.
And like
This time of
that's how
year
I
is
want
like, it's like the perfect example of this because
100%.
the day where I go to the mailbox and it's like all pictures of family and friends and old clients like sending me holiday cards, like that's so fun. Mail is not fun usually. So, yeah, sending the mail joy is part of what I
Male joy.
do. Yeah, and
It's
people like it.
yeah. I mean that's like everybody should enjoy it. We from a marketing perspective, gosh, I think I was only maybe the second year in, and I realized that it's much more cost effective to market to people who already know me than it is to
Yeah,
market to complete strangers. And so we created relationship marketing. And so every piece that goes out is about building a better relationship with the people who already know us. Like what was the catalyst to that was this was like many years ago. My phone broke and I called the company, and this is back when you can resubscribe and they'd give you a new phone for free. And then they're like,
hmm,
"Oh, we don't have that." And I was like, "Okay." And then I'm like on the phone with them trying to get a new phone, and if I get like a 2 year service, and so like I'm on the phone with them and I do a search and they're like, "Sign up now and you get a free iPad and phone." And I'm literally on the phone. I was like, I'm on your website and it says if I sign up for a 2 year contract, I can get an iPad and a phone. And you're telling me I can't even get a phone. And they're like, no, 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 that's for new customers. You're
yeah,
an existing customer. And I was like, so you're telling me you treat your existing customers worse than people who don't have any relationship with you. And you're telling me I'm also out of contract. So let's go ahead and cancel my contract. So now I'm a stranger. And then why don't
yeah,
you re-sign me up as a new customer and treat me good? And so it was this whole like debacle. But my learning experience was treat the people who know you, the agents, the customers, those shop owners, treat them exponentially better than some random stranger.
yeah. And shining a light on local businesses has also been a really helpful Instagram thing for me because they share it. Like just today, or yesterday, I had last minute Christmas shopping to do and like just desperately did not want to go to the mall, which gives me anxiety and is a terrible place. And ugh. So I was like, all right, let's accomplish all of this at small businesses in Raleigh. And I'm like,
Oh
we
wow.
should make a reel about this, right? Like as I'm going about town to pick up gifts, let me just feature some of my favorite shops. They always reshare that content. They're so grateful for it. You're,
They are.
giving publicity to these small businesses, and I always, always, always get local followers out of making posts like that from when they share it. So
Smart. Smart.
yeah,
Smart.
it's a win-win for everyone. And in the Instagram game, like it's not about going viral and it's not about how many followers you have. Like I have a healthy amount. I have around 5,000 I think Instagram followers. But, I'm not a celeb influencer by any means.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter because I need followers who are interested in Raleigh, who live here or want to live here. And those are the followers that matter
Quality.
to me. It's not, yeah, exactly. It's not just about
Yeah.
like chasing anything that will get the like.
Similarly, is you and I just had a hour conversation and got to know each other better, and I understand your business exponentially better, which was a far better use of my time than me spending an hour barraging agents across the US of like, send your referrals to me, right?
Yeah.
Because like, depth and width, like you and I have a much better understanding of each other now than me just wasting my energy doing some like scatter approach.
Yeah. And a tip too, like if people are newer and they don't know how to go about like getting these conversations is people just love giving advice. My dad told me this early on when I was like in my career journey trying to figure out how to get into this, how to get into that. He's like, you people feel very special when you ask them for their opinion on things. So, I mean, how I even got into this group, into Realtor 180, was I realized that in a lot of these circles I'm in, like I love the YPN community. I'm the president here. I'm in the Platinum group, and they're wonderful. But within like the local mentoring, I'm like, gosh, I'm spending a lot of time doing this local mentoring where I'm the mentor. Like, how can I
Yeah.
get somewhere where in a room where I am the little fish and like I can learn from
Mm.
everyone and I can find the mentors. And so what did I do? I picked up my phone and I called the real grown-ups that I admire. Called Stacy Froelich in New York and just like
Yeah, she's
explained
amazing.
my this is what I'm trying to do. Do you have any experience or recommendations? I probably texted or called 5 different agents, and it all resulted in introductions or just really nice feedback, or just like, this is great encouragement, like, this is great you're thinking this way. Like, keep going. I don't have any specific referral for you, but if you keep
Yeah.
this in your mind, it's going to turn out. So if you are wrestling with a business question and there are some agents nationally that you admire, just like ask for the meetup, ask for their advice. People feel very flattered basically when you ask for their input. They're happy to give it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I've done it so many times myself in my own life. The two things that I would recommend is know the questions that you want to ask, and then
Yeah.
either A, say, I would love to carve out 15 minutes to pick your brain. I would love to ask you about X, Y, and Z. And so they
Mm-hmm.
have an idea of what it's about, and they know specifically it's only going to take them 15 minutes. The other one, like I shot Andy this one the other day. I was like, hey, Andy, I would love your feedback on this. Bullet points would suffice. So it totally
Yeah.
frees them up from having to like write a paragraph. They can literally just write like 3 bullet points and call it a day.
And you're not
And
asking for the moon of like, can
you're
you send me business?
super
How do I
simple.
get more? Like, you're asking something very pointed. Hey, I admire what you've
Exactly.
built. I'm looking for feedback on this. Do you have anything to say? And people are
And
really
it's
happy to give it.
and if you do the bullet point strategy, I'm not exaggerating. Every time
That's a
I've
good
done
one.
it, I feel like I've gotten the response within 30 minutes.
Because
Like,
you
because
freed
it's,
them from
you
having to do
totally
this whole
free
big
them
result.
from, like, they don't have to write a dissertation. It's like literally bullet points work. And you'll always get more than bullet points, trust me. But then here's
Yeah.
the gift is respond with thanks so much, looking forward to implementing these, and then implement them. Wait a week or two, and then respond back. Hey, I implemented what you recommended into my business, and here was the result. Thanks so much. Enjoy your day.
And
And
then
now
those
you,
people are rooting for you.
yes,
They become invested in your success. And
and
mentors have
and it
been
goes back.
huge like
Sorry to
that.
interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I'm excited.
No, tell me.
Well, and it goes back to our point earlier of there's a 2.5 million agents, and a lot of them don't do what you shared. And so if you become
Mhm.
the person who is doing, like Andy, for example, who's out of Carolinas, who has a 50-person team, he's a busy guy and
Yeah.
doesn't need to help. And so if you ask him like, "Hey, I'm really struggling hiring. Clearly, you have a knack for it. What are the, what's one thing that you would recommend I do a bullet point with advice, blah, blah, blah." And then he gives it to you and be like, "Hey, I was interviewing people, use this, and it really helped X, Y, and Z." So now he knows that if he's going to spend any moment of time with you, that you're actually going to run, and not you specifically, but you, the listeners,
Yeah.
but you're going to run with that thing and honor the gift that he's giving you, honor his time. The next time when you go to him, the next time you call, the next time you want to have lunch, he will way more receptive with you because
Yeah.
you're honoring the thing that he's giving you
And it's
for any
it's
mentor.
incredible like what people will give. Like with this
Yeah.
hiring situation I'm in, like Ty Ash from Milwaukee, like, shared me his whole ops training, onboarding, like YouTube videos that they've made internally, like their whole internal framework of how they go about it. And same with like the flow chart of how they handle new leads and action plans.
Wow.
Like Wes Collins in Charlotte gave me his entire
He's awesome.
yeah, first time home buyer packet when I was building that out, so I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Um, Eugene Litvack in New York City, like, gave me amazing materials about hiring for culture and the difference between
Yeah.
culture and personality and like stuff that like blew my mind. And he's super busy and gave me a half hour of his life. And people people in that same spirit of giving
Yeah.
they're just wonderful to have, right? And then they get their
Yeah.
handwritten thank you note. They get their, you update them on the progress and you're building a meaningful relationship because you've given each other something.
Speaking of, I would highly recommend that you give a call to Julie Busby, who crushes it on the reload side of things.
I'm writing this down.
Like she's, I'm happy to to make the intro,
Yeah.
but she has such a developed program for relocations that's literally her book of business.
And what a nice call to get or email to get of I heard you were amazing at this thing. Would you
Yeah,
mind me for a little bit? Like it really does make people feel good
yeah,
um,
it's our
to operate.
legacy.
Yeah, and then you can give that on too. Like I get on calls all the time for people who want to talk about Instagram, talk about YouTube, talk about just being new to a market or like whatever I have to share. So
it,
it goes
and
around, it
that
comes
even
around.
parlays it, it parlays to this. Like if an agent is building out their network, they listen to you this whole time, they can very easily find you and be like, "Hey, I just heard you on Sean's podcast. My goodness, I just wanted to call and thank you in person. Like what you shared changed my business. Here's how I implemented it. Like thank you."
I
What a
did a ton.
wonderful phone call.
Yeah, when I was first starting, I did listen to a ton of podcasts and I'd always email the agents and some of them like I'm still in touch with. And
Yeah.
they people feel special when you've impacted them like this. And
Yeah.
it yeah, has been people are so wonderful and I love humans, you know? It's like probably why this is a good job for me, right?
I think
But
so. It
it's
sounds like
true.
you're in your flow.
Yeah.
Allie, this was really fun. I really appreciate your time. Normally we record for 45 minutes. We're at an hour and 40. So I think that's a testament of how fun this was all around.
Yeah,
So
my
thank you.
pleasure. I love to yap. And it's so nice to meet you. Courtesy of reaching out for someone for advice, you know?
I thanks Stacy for,
Yeah.
well, for you. You reached out to her and connected and all these dots just magically aligned. So
It's
welcome
funny
to
you
the
say
group.
that because I met her at Connect the Dots in New York City because I love to
Oh, that's
crash at
funny.
this party that I'm not invited to. That is my bread and butter, showing up at random little regional events and work in the room. That could be a whole nother call.
That is really funny, really quick. But when I was at the retreat in Denver, I was tired. It was the end of the day, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sneak out and grab dinner. And I got to the lobby, and Stacy and Francie were standing there, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just gonna grab a quick bite." And they're like, "No, you're not. You're coming with us."
Yeah.
Like, and we went to some like private party, and it was a total blast. But that's when you just show up for things like that, really amazing things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just fun.
It's
I love a
fun.
party.
Um, all right, my friend, that's a wrap.
Okay.